Hey, what's going on guys? It's Bean here again, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the new Ryzen 5 2400G APUs from AMD. Now the cool thing about this is that it comes with the Vega 11 graphics in it, and the idea here is that this could be a really good solution, especially with the prices of video cards right now, for somebody to just get in there and start playing some games. So we're gonna do a little bit of testing today. I'm gonna boot up Overwatch, PUBG, and Fortnite, and we're gonna just see how well it performs. Okay, so I've got Overwatch booted up first. I'm gonna start it off at just the lowest settings to see how it does, and then we'll crank things up from there to see. I'm not even sure if we're gonna be able to get 60 frames per second at low settings on Overwatch. So let's go ahead and jump in and just see how well it's gonna do. I wanna jump into the training mode here, just so I don't ruin anybody's games by, you know, just getting in there and not being able to play on a good PC. Plus, I don't have a lot of space on this bench right now. So let's pull up Soldier here and get going. So look at that. On low settings, we're getting a rock solid 60 FPS up here. It's playing really smooth. Let's see if we can get some frame rate drops blowing some of these guys up. And so we're playing at 1080p, 60 frames per second, and on low settings, Overwatch is running like a dream. So let's bump the settings up a little bit here and see. Okay, so now that low did really well, let's go ahead and see what medium's gonna look like. So far we're looking at about 60 frames again. It's actually pretty surprising. I didn't expect to get 60 frames on medium with that. With integrated graphics like that, especially considering the price of this thing, that is not bad at all. Okay, so we're in the practice range again now, and this is running on high settings, and looks like we're still getting around 57 to 60 frames. I mean, it plays nice and smooth. It looks pretty darn good. I am interested to see, I'm gonna load it up into an actual game and see if we have all the extra people and effects going around, how bad of frame rate drops we're gonna get. I think on medium, it looks like we'll be able to achieve a pretty rock solid FPS all the time. But I think on high settings, that may not be the case once we actually get in and start playing some real matches. Okay guys, so now we're in a game on high settings. Now we're just skirmishing, but this should be okay to just test. There's still people running around and killing each other, and there's different effects on screen. We're still getting very close to 60 frames on high settings. So this is mostly 57 to 60 frames. It's pretty damn impressive considering that we don't have a GPU on this system at all. So I think that's a pretty good test for Overwatch. You can see that it's very playable. And now we're gonna move on to PUBG. Okay guys, so I've got PUBG booted up right now. We just got into the game, and I have everything turned down to very low settings. And it's not running super smooth. It's about 30 frames per second with the graphics turned all the way down. So it really doesn't look great, and the frames aren't that great either. I think for a game like PUBG, that this is not really going to be a viable solution for you if you're really wanting to play PUBG. But again, I mean, being able to at least get in and play the game at 30 FPS is somewhat playable, but just the nature of PUBG with how you need to spot enemies, things like that, I don't know how great of an option it's really going to be for you. But I think we can go ahead and call this test pretty conclusive, and we can move on to test Fortnite, which has much more relaxed requirements than something like PUBG does. So I think we're going to see pretty good results with Fortnite on there. So let's go ahead and just check that one out. Okay, so lastly, we're going to take a look at Fortnite. Now, like I said, Fortnite's got pretty relaxed requirements, so I'm expecting it to perform pretty well. Now, when we started up the game for the first time, it asked if we wanted to use the best configured settings for our system. So I went ahead and let it do that because I wanted to see where it was going to set this APU at on its own. So it put everything at medium, and again, we're running this at 1080p. Right now, just in the starting area and running around, we're averaging high to mid 30s again, so yeah, about mid to high 30s I would say. Before we get into the actual drop, I'm gonna go ahead and lower a couple of the settings and see how we can get this to look. Turning things down a little bit, I was able to get a few more frames. After this test, we'll go ahead and just drop everything down to the lowest settings to see how it does. But in comparison to PUBG, just the nature of how well optimized Fortnite is, this I would say is fairly playable. I mean, considering you don't have a GPU, I would give this a pass. I mean, I feel like it's really not that bad. Let's get into playing the actual game now and see. I haven't played Fortnite in a while, so this is probably not going to go well, especially with no sound. You know, it just depends on how wide out in the open you get. But again, playable wise, I think a lot of you would be fairly happy with this performance, especially considering you're spending $160 for a processor and graphics card combined, and you're getting performance like this on AAA titles is pretty incredible. Alright guys, so for the last test, we're jumping in on Fortnite now with all of the settings turned down to the lowest. And just in jumping into the game, we're sitting at about mid to high 50s, sometimes spiking up and staying at 60 FPS, which considering, like, even turning Fortnite's graphics down to the lowest, it doesn't look all that much different from when you have it turned up all the way. The view distance is definitely something that would probably help, and playing with the settings a little bit more, we might be able to tweak that to still get decent performance with some view distance. But all things considered, this is very playable, especially, you know, just considering we don't have a GPU on there, which is just, I don't know, kind of blows my mind to, you know, for the longest time, integrated graphics have been something that you don't game on it. That's just something you don't do. And being able to play and just get smooth gameplay like this is really pretty awesome. So to wrap things up, guys, I just wanted to load up some of the more popular games out there that you guys might be interested in. I definitely consider these 3 games to be probably the most common games that you might buy a PC to play with your friends with. You know, if you have a lot of friends that have been playing Fortnite or Overwatch and they're like, man, you got to get a PC, you got to play with us. You know, being able to use one of these new Ryzen APUs, you could definitely buy a new PC and build one for like $500 or less. Now that is something that is a very viable choice. Before, you would have to drop at least $150 extra on a graphics card. And with the way graphics card prices are right now, only getting more and more and more expensive, even something like a GTX 1050 is going up in price, sometimes getting all the way up to like $200. So being able to spend $160 on a processor that's also going to be able to let you play some AAA titles like this and still get decent frame rates, it's a great option, and I highly recommend if you are looking at buying a new system and maybe you don't have enough money to build it out exactly the way you want, then maybe check out these Ryzen APUs, because they are going to be a great way to get your foot into the door and start playing. And then once you save up another extra $300, $400, $500, then you can buy yourself a much better graphics card and still keep on going. But at least you can get into the game and start playing right now. Well, that's it for the video, guys. Now that I got this test bench set up, let me know in those comments down below what kind of tests or comparisons you guys want to see. I've got a couple of ideas already that I'll probably start making here pretty soon. Of course, give this video a like if you enjoyed it to show your support. And if you're new here, I'd love to see you subscribe and ring the bell for Subscribe 2.0, because I've got a lot more videos coming for you in the near future. You can also follow me on Twitter at BrainBeamGaming. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.